Friendship supreme. Friendship supreme. Finding the geek within.
Hey everybody, my name is Michael.
This is Cleve.
This is Stephanie.
And welcome back to another exciting episode of Friendship
Supreme.
where the podcast is there to ask, what would it be like if Batman was actually smashed in the face with a book called Twilight?
I thought Gossip Girl.
Oh, that works too.
Although,
XO, Gotham
Never
Girl.
seen Gossip Girl, but just clearly make the assumption and
Yeah, it works. Check
So-
this out, guys.
today we all read a graphic novel that's not old called Gotham High. And in Gotham High, you basically wish for the slow release of death, in my opinion.
So
I
is
understand,
this,
I understand it's not written for me. I get that. But it's not good.
It's so bad.
when it was
I think I
written,
got to like the third page and I was like, are we done with the backstory yet? Why? Why is there so much?
When it was written, was it written as like a YA novel? Like, is it supposed to be in the young adult section?
I guess.
I think so because the only part that I read about the author was the little blurb at the very end of the comic. I'm assuming it's on the back of a normal comic. But
Extra credit for you, because as soon as it said the end for me, I was done with that
Yeah,
shit.
because there was like another little story in the back that I said,
Oh yeah, I got to where I was just making sure because it had like the different parts and stuff. So I was making sure that it was actually over, and then when I got to the other story, I was like, I stopped. But I saw that she wrote like the Descendants and like Witches of East End or something, which I think are YA novels.
okay, that makes a little more sense.
I
'Cause
imagine those
this
folks are
was
better than
for the
Yeah,
comic
I mean-
book world.
This is clearly to bring in teenage girls. Maybe.
And teenage boys, you know what they're like.
I still don't like love triangles. I remember when I was a teenage boy, that was my biggest fear, was love triangles. So I can't imagine that.
I don't know, roles were reversed. Maybe like the whole fantasy thing. Maybe you're wrong.
That always just blew up in
Or-
your face.
Or they have an alternative lifestyle. You don't know.
You're not allowed to have an alternative lifestyle in high school.
Yeah, these were like 30-year-old actors drawn into high school.
Yeah, it was weird. They did a shitty job. It's what an adult thinks that's happening in high school. And what's weird is like we're old people now, and I still don't think that's how high school works.
That's not how my
No.
high school worked.
My high school did not work that way either, at all.
I remember
Like, I know there was people that maybe did, partied and drank and stuff, but not at the level that these 30-year-old actors do.
as possibly what I think I would be a Jack Napier in this situation, because I'm damn sure not Bruce. His whole story, even having a girl interested in him, I don't remember being a big thing.
I know it's hard to believe, guys, but I was definitely Bruce. Growing up, it was kind of a big deal.
It was tough being
So
so
like, oh,
such a
shit, what do I do with
loner.
all these piles of money?
Because the only difference between loser and loner is the letter S.
Oh yeah, well,
That was
Selena.
a written line.
Was it in there?
Yeah.
I don't know.
It was something like that.
The
I'll go
lines
find
were
it.
so bad. It is
No.
in there.
I'll
No,
go
you
find
don't-
it if
you
you
don't
want
have
me
to
to.
find it. Please don't.
It's when
Nope, I'm on
Bruce
it.
Wayne is walking through and she's describing how like
Okay, so
jocks
if it's
hate this group
oh,
and whatever.
So I read that part as the preview first, and said this isn't the actual book. So then when I got to it in the actual book, I said I'm skipping 4 pages, and did myself a solid.
That was a
but-
good move.
But you had read it. Oh, I also did that, by the way. I got to it and I was like, I don't need.
I was like, I think I've read this part, and then I was like, yeah, definitely keep going. Yeah, no, it was awful. It was about what you'd expect, like the Disney Channel to put out for like
Yeah.
But that
I
makes
can-
sense because Descendants. If that's the same thing as the
Sure.
Disney show, The
I
Descendants.
think so.
Hold on a second. Is Descendants that bad?
I think it's pretty rough.
Ooh,
It's
that's
at
scary.
least there's at least children in it, I guess. But the acting looks pretty rough in it. I think I've
Here-
seen probably 2 episodes.
So here's what I hate. This reminded me of when a Hollywood takes a video game that I like and uses the characters' names, but has
Don't you
no idea
do
what the
it.
video game's about.
Don't
Such
you say
as
it. No,
Mario Brothers.
Wrong. That was a gem of a movie.
No, it wasn't. And we all know it wasn't.
I wasn't mad
And-
at it. The bombs existed in it.
Yeah.
So just
It
you
took-
you recognize names.
And
Remember when they made the spiky fish that would eat you, that big busty black woman?
yeah.
So
Well, they had to correlate it into human beings. Well, this episode's not about Mario the movie, damn it.
they did not have to do that, but
Anyways.
continue.
Anyways, I think that they made too many changes to the characters and they bridged too many gaps that don't really mesh. But it's the same thing that Gotham did.
But
So is this some shitty universe that Gotham has created now?
I definitely don't think it was as bad as Gotham was not as bad as this.
I think that the acting was better in Gotham, but I mean more of the stuff like
Well-
we've talked about before, like the fact that why is Bruce Wayne friends with Selena? I keep wanting to say Gomez because Selena Kyle. Why are these people involved with each other right now?
Okay, yeah, I mean,
Like,
I
if
guess,
you wanted
yeah,
to give
I
me a
can see-
story about Brainway Woos, if you want to give me a story about Bruce Wayne in high school or Selena Kyle in high school, great. There is no reason we have to jam those characters together. You could have easily given me a story about Selena Kyle, about her being a shitty person, and I would have bought it, and it probably would have been better if you didn't have to try to cram in Jack Napier and Bruce Wayne or Harvey Dent.
but then
Because
it's
they all
not.
happened to go to the same high school. They all had some like long history with each other.
But then it's not a Batman story.
It
So
didn't have to be.
I-
You know what? It wasn't a Batman story.
right.
It
So-
wasn't.
Here's the reason I say that. In an interview, Melissa De La Cruz, who was the writer, I believe,
I put an epox on her house.
Yeah.
she is quoted saying, "My husband is a big Batman fan. So
Is
when
he?
when DC called and said, we want you to do a YA line, what character do you want to do? I wanted to do Batman. It's such a fun, iconic character, and I could put my own spin on
Google, check it now. Are they divorced?
it." I mean,
That you've done no justice to this character.
well,
You made him say the words, I'm doing this homework for my Chinese school.
so he's a Chinese American,
Which
right?
we've talked
Which
about
is
before,
fine,
like,
I get that,
whatever.
but
His-
What is
his
Chinese
race
school
doesn't
and Korean
define-
school?
Can I take a moment to persuade you guys that it's not okay by reading you another quote?
Potentially.
Okay.
Bruce Wayne is a billionaire. He's the richest man alive. So I thought, wouldn't it be fun if his family was Chinese and from Hong Kong?
Is
That
she-
made it what? That made it feel real. There's been a big influx of wealthy Chinese people who moved from Hong Kong to Arcadia in Los Angeles. And that's where my mom lives. I'm part Chinese. My brother lives in Hong Kong. So I thought it would be great to put what I know into Bruce Wayne, which is all. I just wanted him to be a bit more representative of my background and given him the authentic family. Alfred is not just a butler, but also his uncle, his gay uncle from Hong Kong. It gives it this fabulous, crazy rich Asian sheen to it.
Okay. So
So
is that
not
it?
authentic.
Is that the whole quote?
Yes, but
So I don't have a problem. We've talked about this before. His race in any character,
No.
if the race doesn't like define the character, so if they're not from, if they're not from Wakanda, an African country, like we can say okay, we can play with that. Fine.
agreed.
I think it's cool that she's trying to integrate her particular culture into it.
Agreed.
So I didn't have a problem with him being Asian.
Right.
What I did have a problem with was Alfred. It was the dumbest fucking relationship ever. Well, hold on. They didn't even throw that. Like, how would you know until the last 20 pages or 30 pages where they're like, here's my lover. What?
So here's what I find weird.
Who's not even living at the house?
We've moved here from Hong Kong. We're all in on this household, the Wayne family together. And it was like, yeah, this guy, he's also my lover.
It's not even the Wayne family. It's one Wayne and one, I can't remember what Alfred's last name was in this comic.
Oh, yeah, because it would have been Martha Wayne, or what she was, Masha something else.
I also thought it was weird, like, to quote unquote empower women by saying that Martha is the reason that they're rich. Because,
right.
Like,
I didn't need that much backstory to their backstory.
Well, again, I go back to
in the normal world, Thomas was the doctor. So I guess I don't know.
Well, like again, if you wanted to focus on one character, and it was Batman. Batman has a rich history of trauma and horrible things that were supposed to happen to him that we could have really built on for children. If you wanted to be like, look, he had no parents, he had a shitty life, he was rich, and everybody was like, oh, you have it easy because you're rich, but he did lose all of his everything, like his parents and, you know, any connection he had to the world. But yeah, no, like, you had so much material to write off of, I didn't understand why we had to, like, I don't know. Fucking
here's what's confusing.
Why was Selena Kyle's house, like, on the manor?
Next door, you have this one-story shack, and then this mansion next door.
I'm just
close enough to see into the next window, like
right. Like it might as well have been a live-in quarters, like a mother-in-law quarters. But the Alfred thing really irritated me. Because here's why. Throughout the entire, and it sealed the deal for me. Throughout the entire comic book, it was. He always referred to him as Uncle, which every time I read it like Jackie Chan saying Uncle. But anyways,
yes.
Call it what it is. That's what happened. But one time, he referred to Bruce as Master Wayne. Every other time, he interacted with him like he was his nephew, and they were family. But then one time, he calls him Master Wayne, and it didn't jive. Like, that is no longer.
Well, I think Master is also like, it's like Mr., but for young boys. We're not Misters yet.
The eldest male in the family is going to be the one that's in charge. Absolutely, Bruce would not be in charge.
Right.
I look, you know what? When did this book come out?
I'll have to check.
Because I get it. Crazy Rich Asians did really fucking well. And then we're like, let's just go ahead and bank on that.
Not that well.
The movie? I thought it did really well. Oh.
Not well enough to make whatever this was.
Well, yeah.
Hold on a second. Original published April 7th, 2020.
Oh, shit. That just came out. God dang.
So she wrote a book in quarantine and had nobody edit it.
The poor people that are like sitting at home going, I guess I could read this. I'm in quarantine. What does it hurt?
What about her husband, the Batman fan? Could he take a look real quick?
I'm telling you right now, there's no way they're still together. There's no representation whatsoever of Batman in this.
And you know what? I honestly feel like you could have just wrote a story. And
how cool would it have been?
Maybe it would have been good.
How cool would it have been for Batman to get a cool Asian character out of it?
Yep, and now we've burned that bridge forever.
Right now, all they really have is, well, they have Wong, which is kind of cool, and then Spider-Man's chubby friend. That's what they have.
He's a good character.
He's a good character, but you could
know
have
what?
given him a Chinese Batman. That would have been awesome.
I'm waiting for an Amadeus Cho to show up. I'm a
yeah.
big fan of him.
I think that her reasoning for including the Chinese culture is BS, other than the fact that she is part Chinese. Then I think it's a lot of it her just trying to like defend, because you know how people freaked out about every time we've done anything. MJ, the Little Mermaid, like people lose their shit. So I imagine she's like, no, it makes sense because of logic. Really, it was just she wanted to give some sort of representation.
And I'm fine with that. If I said I wanted my children to see a character that represented them, boom, I'm done. You don't have to explain anything else. But to be like, I just thought it'd be fun if he was Chinese, because
there lots of rich Chinese folk out there.
Right. That doesn't make any sense for someone to be like, I want a story that represents a different race that's not, even if it's not even yours.
Yeah.
Just be like,
Barbara Gordon was black. Nobody said a word. Yeah. No, didn't bat an eye. Nobody cared.
Mm-mm.
Like,
you know what? I think that wouldn't you want to write it good if you were gonna do it big? Also, because it's not okay. So DC went to her and said, we want you to write a story. And she said, I want to do Batman. But was this about Batman or was it about Selena?
It was absolutely about Selena. And again, we could have made it about Selena and her growing up somewhere else. Because here's the thing. There's no way they'd be in the same fucking school together. Because in all the other iterations, Bruce Wayne went to like this nice private school.
She fixed that, remember? Bruce got into a fight at the beginning.
Yeah, Bruce got kicked out. Is that the part that you didn't read?
That's the part you skipped over? I like to think that Michael tried to mull over a lot of it, but his eyes burned.
I had to go back because I didn't understand him like saying that he was coming back to school, and I was like, Arkham is in Gotham. I don't understand how he's coming back home. And then I realized it was a preparatory school. He probably lived there.
There were like 2 or 3 times that I had to flip back pages because something happened and I obviously didn't pay attention well enough.
I didn't mind. You know who I didn't mind in this? Poison Ivy. She's about it.
Although I thought at first that she was working in a pharmacy.
I was like, so too.
And then she was dating him. I was like, is she an adult or a child?
Yeah, I thought she was an adult, and I thought she was working in a pharmacy for most. And
I was like, why is this adult hitting on this child?
I didn't.
And then she was working in an apothecary shop, and I was like, okay, maybe whatever.
Yeah, right.
What's happening?
Why were we wearing a lab coat in an apothecary?
That's just for style, man.
Oh, okay, good.
Here's when I knew that they were just taking the names and doing whatever. When Jim Gordon was the principal, I was like, okay, so we just Googled Batman characters and scooped them up and put them in the bag, shook the bag, and just drew names out until we knew what we were writing.
What about the fact that we made Ivy friends with Selena? That is not a thing. They hate each other. No, they hate each other.
Those two and Harley are a trio.
Harley brings them all together. They both like Harley. Selena and Ivy do not get along most of the time. And most things that I've read or watched, either way. The animated series is what's fresh in my mind right now, and they really hate each other on that one. But
animated story. Parallel universe.
Yeah,
I mean,
I guess that's fair.
Isn't it all? And we got Dick Grayson for a panel.
Yeah. Like, I don't even care that the story changed.
That's the part I didn't read because it said it was a different thing, and I was like, nah, fuck this. I'm out.
No, even in the main story, it's like, hey, Dick Grayson, and then he left.
Yeah, like the story about the characters and like how like they're in the same high school, whatever. I can get over that. It's just so much story that doesn't make a lot of sense put together, and also the dialogue is just so bad.
And
so bad.
Even if like I took out the parts where I saw and Bruce didn't see, there's no way we didn't know it was Selena.
Right.
And then they just try to make it seem like Jack was being set up in the middle of nowhere.
Poor Harvey Dent got his face cut. That was the only. You know what? That's the only part I liked in the entire thing.
And then
When he was
became
sitting there
obsessed
staring
with
at
that
the
coin.
When he was
He's
sitting there
like,
staring at the coin, he goes, "I guess it's
yeah.
just fate." Isn't it funny how she lucked out? Stupid bitch. That's what he was like. He's like, "Yeah, she lucked out. Flipped a coin. It was like tails." God dang it! Stupid book.
Yeah, I don't mind Selena being Hispanic. I don't mind Bruce being half Chinese. I mind the story. And again, this is written for young
Adults.
teenagers.
Yeah. But you made me
So
read
I don't
it,
even think
so.
it's good for them either. Like I used to read young adult novels because I was a young adult novel. I mean, a young adult, and so I read a lot. And I can't. None of them were this bad.
compelling. Never was I like invested in anybody because I got the race switcheroo, or even when I just agreed that these people weren't going to be the people I know, I could move past. But the story just wasn't good.
Yeah, it was too slow, and then random, constantly. Too slow and too fast, all at the same time.
I was so angry at the title that apparently when I finished, I just immediately shut down Hoopla. Because I came back to it to show you a picture of something, and I was like, "Hey, how do you rate this this title?" Yeah, 1 fucking star. But
I rated poop.
the descendants that they're referring to her writing it's just a comic adaptation of the Disney show.
Or you know what? I would have taken it being Batman and Catwoman's kid in high school. Like I would have maybe even taken that.
That's what Descendants does. That would have made more sense. The children of the people.
So, can I read you some more that she said?
Fuck no.
Okay, cool. Ready?
Yeah.
I wanted to write about a young Bruce Wayne. So, obviously, there's going to be a love story.
No. No. There didn't have to be.
Wait till the
Like Bruce says about himself in third person, Bruce Wayne doesn't have friends.
Wait till this next line. The Joker's pretty hot, so he's got to be in there. That's where I started.
You're writing a story about Batman and you started at the Joker? That makes sense why half the book is about Jack.
Well, it's because he's hot.
But
the Joker's pretty hot.
Romanticizing that son of a bitch is the most frustrating thing that can possibly happen in this fucking franchise. God damn it.
I wanted to write something about how he dealt with his wealth because I've always written stories about how things that people think are so great actually don't turn out to be so great. I just wrote The Queen's Assassin. Oh, I'm smelling the next episode coming. About a girl who doesn't want to be a princess. So I wanted to show how it's not actually that great to be rich. It's actually a barrier between Bruce and everyone around him. And had that been the story, I mean, she's writing for DC. She's gotta have
that was
money.
like this much of the story.
Well,
like there are so much different stories and so much plot lines. It just seems like there was too much. She needed to like narrow down what she actually wanted to write about.
It's also a burden. Well, here's the thing. It's about Selena. So we were never going to get that. It's also a burden to be so different. Is he able to have friends? Can he have a relationship?
He could have if he didn't try to fuck his friend's girlfriend.
And then I went from there.
God dang it. Everything was wrong in this movie, or in this book, Cleve. It just is angering. I don't know why you made me read this. I'm glad, you know what? I'm happy that her dad's getting good. And she abandoned him.
She did. Faked
Here, I put you in a home, bitch, and then left.
But then she faked her own death and then posted on social media.
I was like, just a big
you're
old
done.
middle finger.
The money is now gone. Like you're going to be found in charge for insurance fraud or whatever.
I want to know what Melissa's husband looks like, and here's why. She said Jack Napier is hot, and she made him look like a grease nugget in this. Like he is just a grease ball.
He was not a great,
disgusting looking
character.
Feller.
I'm just upset that the Joker's hot. Nobody told me. I'm a series writer and a franchise writer. I like to create the universe and play with big, iconic characters. It felt like doing The Descendants, but in the DC universe. I would love to play a little more. We have minor characters that we can get to know a bit more, like Poison Ivy and Harvey. And I don't think we've seen the last of Selena, Jack, and Bruce. I'm hoping to do more Jack's story in the second book. And we
Thank
barely
God.
even saw Robin.
Barely even saw. Was Robin even there?
Okay, this doesn't make sense either. Okay, hold on a second. Let's talk this through. Dick Grayson was a part of the Flying Graysons.
Right. He does that.
As a
But is he?
child.
But is he?
As a
'Cause-
child, he did it. How else does he become? How else do we explain his acrobaticness, his prowess to be the Robin?
Someone's got to die. Right?
So
Maybe
Jason Todd just gets entered. Can you keep that to be the one real thing that still happens in this? Is that Jason Todd shows up and just gets the shit beaten out of him until he dies?
Here's what happens: is Jason Todd's actually his stepbrother to Dick Grayson, and then
I would think Bruce's stepbrother, like illegitimate child kind of situation.
I don't know what's going on with Bruce. I can't get into that. I've got to move forward with the character I got the least information on, so I can try to salvage something. It's not great. I understand it's not for me, but DC said, "Who do you want?" And she said, "Batman." And I just feel like, did DC go, "Hey, what's this?" Or did they had to have just put it in the printer, right, and got to work?
Yeah. That's what they did. There's
Can you
no way
imagine having
anyone
the
looked at
You
this.
know what? It's because DC started doing their own distribution, or they went to smaller distribution. Diamond's not able to do quality control anymore. That's why we don't let people go off the road. Look, I'm normally all for branching out and not letting monopolies happen, but Diamond needs to be in charge of shit because they wouldn't have let this fly.
Did you like I think Dick Grayson was the black kid getting bullied
Oh.
in the beginning, I think.
Okay.
The one where they wrote on social media for him to just kill himself.
Do you want to
Yeah.
explain to me why when Bruce walked into or when you get introduced to Bruce's party, Selena Kyle is just floating in the air with an acrobat?
I'm so confused. I saw that also.
At what point in time are the performers like, yes, let's include audience, and then just grabs the girl off the ground?
So, what's your favorite part? He says laughingly.
Where it said the end.
Fair.
Or maybe when it said part 1 and I didn't know the time I would waste reading this garbage.
I think my favorite part was how quickly Bruce went, oh yeah, you're fucking around with Selena Kyle? Fine, here's Ivy. I'm dancing with her now. Within 2 steps. I don't know if you remember this. At his party, he saw Selena and Jack kiss.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, he bumped into him and was like, oh, fancy meeting you here. And it was like, here's Ivy.
That's how you do it, boy.
Petty fucking rich people.
And Selena, man, she was
They do a really bad job of making me feel bad for the rich people, which is what she was trying to do. And I'm still on board for eating them.
So why would his uncle let him do anything that he was doing? The book specifically says there is no antidote for this, and he's like, "Can you give me the antidote?" I'm like, "That's not what it is. It literally says there's no antidote."
What about the fact that he has a GPS tracker in every single person's phone that came to his party, but still can't figure out that it's Selena that's doing it?
Right? Wouldn't he have video cameras that would show that Selena kidnapped herself, basically? Or I guess she had the goons do it.
The pranksters.
I was
The pranksters.
Yeah. Oh god.
The pranksters.
I was insulted by a lot of this. Quite a bit. You have to really if you want to enjoy this, you've got to really skim it.
Or like how is this not the red flag? The bad guys capture me, throw me in a room with the girl I'm trying to save, and then say, "Hey, we're gonna leave for a long time. Bye."
Right.
And then he just miraculously saves her. We're cool with
Or
this?
after they said, "Oh, he's knocked out. We don't have to tie him up, but we're gonna go leave for a long time."
Right.
Um,
That's suspect.
Martha Wayne was murdered in a bathtub.
She was murdered in a bathtub. Does she
That
still have her
happened.
pearls? I don't remember.
I don't either.
I hope she had her pearls.
Remember when Bruce and Selena used to ride bikes together when they were kids?
And play
And
swords.
then he proposed to her. And then he pretended not to know who she was at all for no
So
reason.
there's some
At
comments
all.
at the end of this article that I have here, and one says Bob Kane is rolling over at his grave, which admittedly he probably stole from Bill Finger.
I think Bill Finger feels about all this. That's the
I
real
mean-
question.
God bless him, he's not here anymore for this.
Or he's been through enough. The criminal walking away has her pearls. Don't you worry. We still included that.
He had that sweet party though.
I don't think I realized that he had a Sherlock Holmes poster in his bedroom. Nerd.
Did you like them playing the video game together?
Yeah,
And
I did.
let me see, what were the characters' names?
He named
It
one
was
Bruce.
Cape Crusader or something. I don't know.
Yeah,
what
the video game was the Cape Crusader. You are correct. And one of them was like, maybe we can call him Batman-esque
I'm
and
almost there.
Joker-esque.
Yeah, one was like a clown, and then one was
in
the
the
Cape
C.
Crusader.
Yeah, like he has a C on his chest.
Yeah,
and
Cape Crusader. But
the
Jack
other
got
one just looks
the
interesting.
off-brand Joker's one. I like that Selena's Instagram has all the kidnap postings on it.
I hate that he called him B-Dub.
Did you like that
you're an alright guy. But
Did
like,
you like-
okay,
we bought off the cops with all the alcohol?
Yeah.
That was
Love
my favorite part.
love.
If I had to pick
that
something.
feels like the most accurate thing so far.
After
The
we
Gotham
shoved
Police
in
Department
a
sucks.
gay relationship, like just had to shove that into the story for some reason. Like if it was part of the beginning, it would make sense, but it just
Maybe she
So
forgot
bad.
that was something she was writing.
She said, "You know what the scene needs? It needs a gay husband to interject random lines that don't make any sense. Like, you weren't lying. There wasn't alcohol at the party, except for what you just gave. Like, what? I had to read that line so many times. I still don't understand what it meant.
I'm not sure why we had to bribe cops if there was no alcohol at the party. But that right there, conflict resolution in this book is exactly why this is poor for young adults, because every single conflict was resolved within seconds, and it was like weird. So
It was
when they
resolved
met
with
each other,
sex most of the time.
well, when they met each other at the gate, right? When
Uh-huh.
Jack's at Bruce's gate, they both come up to each other and he's like, I know it's weird for me to be here, but like, where is she? I haven't heard from her. And he's like, yeah, she's not here. He's like, also, really sorry, man. Like, and then like just, and he's like, yeah, no, I'm sorry too.
Nah, bro,
And
it's
then
cool,
they kind
dog.
of, they had like a bro moment, and it was like, good. But
Now let's go find
never
the
in a
chick
million
who
fucking years is that gonna
masterminded
happen.
a kidnapping. Who's in high school?
Start calling you M-Dub.
Oh, fucking everything.
Did you like that the chef made them the, what is it, the bao?
Bao.
Oh,
Yeah, made
yeah.
bao cakes.
Yeah, you had
Yeah.
to
Or dumpling.
throw in.
What's weird is,
extra-
is bao Chinese? I don't know. My grandma told me everything
think
was
so.
Vietnamese growing up.
That's
She's
fair.
like, no, this is a Vietnamese dish. And I'm like, you sneaky son of a bitch. You know you've been lying.
I think
Also-
Bao is Chinese.
So these high schoolers like straight fucking this comic, right?
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
like they
All
got
the
it.
time.
They got it in a couple
Because
times.
they're 30 years old.
And these terrible reporters that are at Selena's house and she's just next door and nobody understands it.
Right. Jack could see them from the street, so the reporters would be able to also see them from the street.
So there's a scene where Jack is taking Selena to his room because
he
she is
is.
adamant about seeing it for whatever reason.
Because she needs to know. She's got to lock it in that he's obsessed with her.
And he goes, well, here it is. It's not what you think. And she looks scared, and it's a murderous wall of different pictures of her. And she's like, are you kidding? I freaking love it. And I don't know, man. I wouldn't love it. I'd be real concerned.
He's like, I know you just had feeling. I know you used to have feelings for her. Well, what about this? And then makes out with him. That's how things work in high school, guys.
And then they got it on.
Damn it. Here's the bar that I set for young adult books.
Yeah.
And Animorphs was written 20 years ago.
Can we get
And
more Animorphs? Is nobody working on that?
I saw live action Animorphs, and that was better than having to watch this. And that was 90s CGI Animorphs.
I loved that show.
Or
We should
early
back and watch
2000s.
We should go back and watch that.
It was good.
It was so good.
Damn
It makes
it.
me happy to think about that. Good job, man.
This was no Animorphs. This was
Animorphs.
this was getting fucking ear raped by the slurg. What was the Yerg? Was it the Yerg?
I don't
Or
know what
the slug things
remember.
in Animorphs that went into your ear to take over?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, that was a good show.
I think that happened in X-Files too.
I just feel like we watch bad movies and review them. How do we not jump on this? Right?
Honestly, I'd rather watch
Blubberella?
I'd rather watch the
Yeah.
Bratzy movie again.
Blubberella.
That's saying something. If you would say, I will watch this Bratzy movie before I get into this shit again.
We talking about
So-
what, Yoga Hosers?
And, you know, yeah,
You
yeah.
talking about Yoga Hosers?
I don't even
So-
remember the name of the movie.
You talking about that Yoga Hosers?
First episode of Animorphs was September 15th, 1998, and the last episode was October 8th, 1999.
The slugs were called Yerks. I was still close.
Yerk.
But I know that you had to go to McDonald's, ask for a Happy Meal with extra Happy on it, and that's how you got into their layer. Right. Those are things that stuck with me because it was great writing when I was a young adult.
I
What
wonder
will never
who-
stick with me? This garbage.
I wonder who owns the franchise and how much they'll sell it for. 'Cause I almost, with no resources, I could take this and make it something that is way better than what we've been given by this.
An article written on June 18th of 2020. Animorphs movie in the works from Scholastic Entertainment. Eric Feig's
Scholastic.
Picture Start exclusive Scholastic
You
also
son
has
of a
plans
bitch,
to launch a
Scholastic.
graphic novel adaptation of these 90s sci-fi book series.
I would read a graphic novel of this.
Yeah,
I would read
done.
a comic of this.
But here's the thing.
That's,
I'm going to need them pages to fucking morph people
oh,
and
my
animals.
God.
If that's not a part of it, I'm out.
God, I need them to change from person to animal. So bad. So bad.
I remember buying new Animorphs and be like, what? Every time.
I remember I still will go into a half price books and go like just flip on through, man.
Now that we lived through some good nostalgia, Cleve made us read a shitty book. Let us know what you guys thought about it in the comments down below.
Just don't bother reading it.
Go
Oh,
read
man.
it at your local library.
No, it's like watching Cats. You gotta
No, it's
know
not.
But I didn't get
how
to do
bad
it
it could
drunk.
possibly be. That's fair.
No.
That was your call.
Cats
That's
was,
fair.
was better than
Put that
this.
on me.
Yeah,
Put that on me.
Cats
Hold
was
on.
at least good enough that you could laugh at it.
I got to see Ian
Jason
McKellen
Derulo
lick
basically
milk
being
out
the
of a
cat version of
cup.
himself. It had its moments.
Rebel Wilson ripping her skin off and not, flinching.
Nope, nope. Rebel Wilson whole character can leave. This book or this comic is Rebel Wilson in Cats.
Oh, that's nothing. I was just gonna make you read the little free section online, Michael figured out a way to find the whole graphic novel. So really, it's on Michael. I was just going
Oh.
to let you two read that part, and I was going to read the whole story.
When you had texted to read all of it, I thought you meant like there was more to the there was more books
Oh,
and there was like
God,
a
I don't-
series.
We
I was
can
like,
keep it
I
going,
don't want to read any
guys.
more of this.
We can have this keep going. Please hit up in our social media. They're Facebook, they're Instagram, they're Twitter. They're all Friendship Supreme, except Twitter has no eyes in the word friendship because all eyes are typically on our YouTube channel. Go to YouTube and search Friendship Supreme. And please hit us up on our Patreon, patreon.com/Friendship Supreme. You can give as little as $1 and it will feed me.
He does eat off of $1 a month.
Noodles, baby. I need to find a quote from this book.
If you guys have any other shitty comic books you'd like us to read, please let us know.
I did not know. I'm going to be real with you. I didn't know comics could be this bad.
I've read My Little Pony comics to my daughter. They were better.
Better?
They were solid stories.
This just seems like an author who wishes her high school life was like this.
Man,
Just
if I could
imagine
only...
she's like rich and from China and is like, I want people to know my struggles.
Like, man, if only I could go back. Like, no, please don't go back. I've been Cleve.
This is Michael.
This is Stephanie.
And remember, loser is just loner with an N, isn't it?